Happy day after the Super Bowl, everybody. It is the YSN edition of the Breakfast Burrito. We are here and we are ready to go over all the if, ands, buts, and I guess the stamp of approval here on YSN. Welcome to the Breakfast Burrito. I am DJ Yokley, my partner Tommy Pease over in the wonderful campus of East Liverpool. And Tommy, what an unbelievable game. We thought it was going to be close. I don't think either one of us saw it being that close.
Yeah, I thought it was a terrific Super Bowl down to the wire. You got everything you wanted as a NFL football fan. You had the ball in Tom Brady's hands twice in the last 2.5 minutes to try to get the Patriots their sixth Super Bowl, and but a huge defensive play by Philadelphia on a strip sack or a fumble on Tom Brady, I guess you could call it, leads to an Eagles Super Bowl victory. So yeah, it was in my eyes, it was a great game. A lot of offense on both sides of the ball, which is good for your average fan out there. So all the people that turned in to watch the Super Bowl had to definitely enjoy what they seen. And I feel like there's a lot of Tom Brady haters out there, so they're pretty happy, I'm sure, today as the city of Philadelphia got burned down last night. I mean, my goodness, they're just crazy in the streets of Philadelphia.
Well, I think everybody knew that it was going to burn down one way or the other, win or lose.
Yeah, either way.
Philly, huh? Yeah, people of Philly were going to burn that baby down. But I mean, you look at going into the game, a lot of questions surrounding Tom Brady, a lot of questions surrounding his health, and then the biggest takeaway that I had from last night, and to be honest with you, I didn't even notice, was Malcolm Butler, a healthy scratch last night. Very interesting. The only thing that anybody would say about it, I think Coach Belichick said that it was a football decision, and being able to look at it from the 5,000-foot view. What's your take on that? Does he make a difference in the outcome of that Super Bowl?
I mean, you would think he would. Nick Foles looked like Tom Brady himself last night, and he played really, really well. So I mean, you think about adding somebody like Butler back into the mix. Yeah, they're very hush hush on really what happened. The only thing I read this morning, I'm trying to pull it up now, that the Patriots gave up on him. That's what he said in a post game interview, and he sounded devastated at not playing more. But he was the hero of Super Bowl 50. And then here we are at 52, and he's a non-factor in a New England Patriots loss. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing and they showed it this morning on Good Morning Football. They showed it all over ESPN. He was the guy, and most people don't know this if you're not an avid Patriot fan, but he was the guy on the sidelines crying last night, knowing that he basically was not going to play in the biggest game, one of the biggest games of his life. And he was crying on the sideline. He had his helmet strapped up the entire night just in case they called his number. But the end result is he gets 0 snaps. He gets 0 playing time, even on special teams. And I think it affected them. I really do. And I think that at the end of the day, Nick Foles was cooler than the other side of the pillow, and he really attacked the replacement. I think it was Rowe for the Patriots. That first touchdown that I think it was Aguilar. No, it was Alshon Jeffrey caught. They went right at him. What a catch
that was too!
What a catch! And you said it yourself. Nick Foles just played lights out. He played like he wasn't scared. He played like he had nothing to lose because he didn't. He knows that he's giving the ball back to Carson Wentz. It comes spring or whatever camp they call it. Training camp.
OTAs.
Yeah, I've got spring training on the brain, man. I've got my Bucko shirt on, ready to go. But Foles had nothing to lose, and he played it like he didn't. And the coolest moment that I saw last night was when he raised that Lombardi trophy up, and you're going to see it for years to come, similar to the Tom Brady hands on his head. You're going to see Nick Foles looking up at that trophy in amazement, and just you can read his lips, him just saying, "Wow." So that was a pretty cool moment, given that he almost gave up not even a year ago or so. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it was a special moment. Eagles fans rejoice. Patriots fans get a taste of their own medicine. And I think 98% of America is happy this morning.
Oh, I agree with you totally. Nick Foles, I mean, what a story. Like you said, just gave up on football, comes back, fills in for Wentz, who, Wentz was having an MVP type season for the Eagles. And, as Chris Berman would say, cool as the other side of the pillow. I mean, he was smooth as butter last night. And not only did he win a Super Bowl, but he probably won himself one heck of a contract signing somewhere here
Dear
in the
God,
offseason.
don't be Cleveland. Please, God, don't be Cleveland.
Oh, he won't do no good there. But yeah, so hats off to Nick Foles. 8.7 yards per attempt last night for Nick Foles, and the NFL leader this year was Drew Brees with 8.1. So he was well above that, and the kid came to play, and he did a fabulous job. Let's not discount Tom Brady. He had 505 yards passing last night. So you could question his health, you can question his age or maybe his want to play, but the guy still has it. I felt like the ball was in Brady's hands the entire game for New England. So
yeah, it was an interesting take. I mean, really, they didn't. To me, they didn't do a whole lot of mixing it up. I mean, I would have probably, if I was, and I'm not the offensive coordinator, and it's easier to be Monday morning quarterback, but maybe make the Eagles commit to stopping Tom. I mean, stopping Tom Brady, obviously, but mixing in a little bit of run with Dion Lewis, having James White. Did he only have one handoff? Is that right? James White only had carried the ball one time, and he took it to the house.
yeah, touchdown. That was the touchdown by James White. That was a handoff from Brady. I mean, hey, both sides of the coin here. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Patriots. The max amount of touches one running back had was Blunt, and that was 9. You know what I mean? So neither team, committed to the run last night, and it showed with almost 1,200 yards or 1,100 yards in offense between the two teams. So yeah, crazy game, fun to watch, and like I said, it gave you everything you wanted. The ball in Tom Brady's hands with under 2.5 minutes to go twice, and Eagles were resilient enough to hold off both times, and Philadelphia Eagles, big game champs.
That's it, man. And you talk about LeGarrette Blount. The majority of his carries came in the fourth quarter as they're trying to run out the clock. So really, in reality, he has maybe 5 carries. You know what I mean?
Right.
Legitimate carries. One of them he took to the house. But James White basically wins you that championship last year for New England, and he gets one touch. It was interesting, and I guess you can't, because it was a shootout. You're absolutely right. But I'd still want to see more running the ball. I think the Patriots could have done a better job with time management in keeping the ball in Tom Brady's hands, keeping him on the field, because you don't necessarily want Nick Foles on the field either if he's lights out like he was last night. Would you agree with that assessment?
No, I totally agree. And like you said, the one carry James White got, he took it to the house. And, in the Patriots offense, somebody like James White, he doesn't even have to carry the ball to be efficient for them. Dink and dunk to James White, which worked well for him last year against Atlanta. And, the biggest surprise for me was kind of Dion Lewis being a non-factor last night. Over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the regular season and then into the playoffs, Dion Lewis for the Patriots was just an absolute stud. And he was a non-factor last night. Granted, they didn't, stick to the run, either team. So, I mean, he's going to fade away a little bit there. But he started to catch the ball in the backfield in those last 4 or 5 weeks. But the Patriots, they had what they wanted to do in mind. I mean, and Rob Gronkowski, a huge part of that, 15 targets last night for Rob Gronkowski. So, came away with 9 of them, and two of those 9 receptions went for touchdowns. So Patriots knew what they wanted to do, and I don't think the running backs were really a part of the game plan for them last night. They must have seen something on film that they didn't like. We do know that Philadelphia has a great defensive line, but more of a high pressure defensive line to where it affects the quarterbacks more than it does a straightforward running game. So I'm sure both coaches are maybe second guessing themselves on things they could have done different, but the Eagles come away with the victory. So
you watched last night I believe in the comfort of your own home, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, went to Coach May's house, the head baseball coach at Liverpool. We went over there and watched it. So
okay. So when you're looking and you're watching that game, what was the play of the game for you that really put the stamp or made the outcome of this championship for one side or the other?
Um, I'll be honest with you. I think it's the first touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey. That set the tone for pretty much the whole entire game, and it let the Patriots know, hey, we're coming to play. You guys want to fly high and throw up big yardage. We can do it too. And what an offseason signing that was for the Eagles, because Jeffrey was quiet, had a little injuries in the beginning of the year, and then as the season progressed, no matter if it was Wentz or Foles, he started to become that dominant receiver that we saw in Chicago. But for me, I mean, that catch was phenomenal, and I think it kind of set the tone for what type of game, after we had the field goal to start there, for the Eagles, then, come back with a Jeffrey touchdown with what was just a phenomenal catch. Both his big catches last night were unbelievable. The one on the sideline when he went to the ground, falling away, comes away with it. So, yeah, I think that, of course, besides the Zach Ertz touchdown, that is, which we'll talk about, that for me was the big play that got the, basically probably took all the Super Bowl anxiety away. Like, hey, we can do this. Let's roll with it. And hats off to Alshon Jeffrey, who came up big last night for the Patriots, or for the Eagles.
No, that's fine. I mean, you had you kind of tipped it off, but that play with Zach Ertz that we will talk about a little bit later, probably the one that's going to go down in all the NFL highlight films and the Super Bowl from now until the end of eternity. However, for me, and talking to you, I watched it at my buddy's house last night with my godkids and kind of my inherent family that I love so much. But man, you want to talk about stones? Doug Peterson, a career backup quarterback, calling that game like he was calling it for himself. And the big play for me was 4th and 1, and throwing that pass to Zach Ertz, and barely got past the line of scrimmage. Barely got past, the first down marker, but he didn't catch it in the air, mid-flight, taken back. So what an absolute, to me, it's an absolute play call that changed the outcome. Oh, not only changed the outcome of the game, changed the outcome of history with that, because I don't think that there's a lot of coaches out there that have, for lack of better words, the cojones to make that call on 4th and 1, but basically the Super Bowl on the line, when you're standing on your side of the field and you got Tom Brady on the other side waiting for that football. So for me, that was the play of the game. Zach Ertz obviously had a couple key plays last night, but that play of the game, and also the Hail Mary at the end. I don't know how many times we watched that on replay, probably 6, 7, 8, probably close to 10 times. That play was a lot closer than people really recognize. And, Gronk times out a little bit better.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yep, and there was a play, number 13. I didn't get his name or number. Oh, I got his number. But he had a chance to make a play on that too. There was just too many Eagles around. But, man, can you imagine if that ball is caught, Hail Mary, touchdown, and it comes down to a 2-point conversion try to send the Super Bowl to overtime? That would have been unbelievable.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't counting Brady out to the last second last night. So, yeah, that it made for an exciting ending. If he does catch it, like you said, I watched it a few times too back on on the recorder, and man, like you said, he jumps a little bit sooner maybe, or gets reaches that plateau higher than what the defenders do. I mean, he's definitely coming down with that, because nobody on the field, like they said last night, is bigger than Gronkowski. So let's it was fun.
Let's look over some stats last night. I think we talked about it before we went on the air. 1,151 yards of total offense between these two teams. 538 for Philly, 613 for New England, and dude, obviously a Super Bowl record by far. And I mean, did you expect it to be an offensive shootout going into this thing?
If the Eagles were able to pretty much score at will, which they were last night against the Patriots, I knew it was going to be a shootout. Eagles possessed the ball 10 times. Only 2 of those times did they not put points on the board. So, yeah, I mean, it was if the Eagles were able to score, it was definitely going to be a shootout, and that's what it was. 1,151 total yards offense. I mean, that's just absolutely insane.
Second stat that is not for the weak at heart, and especially for you special teamers out there, one single punt, 41-yarder by Eagles Donnie Jones. I don't remember it. I'll be honest. I don't know if I got up to grab another slice of pizza or what, but I do not remember that punt at all.
That's funny. I don't remember that punt either. I really don't. I must have been eating the same time you were or in the bathroom the same time you were, because I do not remember a punt. And there was one single punt. That's craziness. Crazy.
Tommy, never say we're in the bathroom at the same time. Just never do that again.
We're in different locations, folks. We're in different locations.
One sack the entire game. We talked about it offline, and it was the most pivotal play of the game for the Patriots and the Eagles. And I mean, you saw that one. Almost called it. I think he said as we were going to. I had a friend in the room that called a turnover before the Patriots even had the ball. So one of the most pivotal points in NFL history in a Super Bowl.
Definitely. I mean, everybody's thinking that here it comes, 2 minutes, 20-some seconds ago, Tom Brady, down at that time. What was he down at that time? He was down 5 at that time.
Yep.
Down 5. And, everybody's holding their breath because they've seen it, 1,000 times. Here comes Tom Brady. Brandon Graham comes in, strip sack. I think it was Derek Barnett recovered the fumble. And, that was a huge play. And then that's when we seen 3 back-to-back LeGarrette Blount was 9 carries in that game, and they come in for the field goal, and the rest is history. So yeah, that's a huge play. Huge play.
Did you think the game was over when that sack and fumble occurred?
Well. Yes and no. I mean, if the Eagles were able to get a first down, but absolutely not if they weren't. And that was crazy. I mean, I still, with 46 seconds ago, I still thought, listen, they threw a couple out patterns, which they did. They got past the 50-yard line. The only play call that I question there is, with 16 seconds to go, and they're already across the 50-yard line, the Patriots. And I think Collinsworth even said this on TV, in which I hate to agree with him because I can't stand him. He's such a Steeler hater. He said, hey, you got Rob Gronkowski out here. Let's take, why waste that play? Why waste that first 7-8 seconds? Let's throw 2 deep balls into the end zone, try to get it to Gronkowski. So that was the only thing that I probably questioned there at the end of the game by New England. I would have thrown it twice into the end zone, especially with Gronk down there. But yeah, that was a fun final 2.5 minutes for sure.
So one of the interesting stats that I'm finding right now is there were 4 extra point or 2-point conversion attempts that were failed. The only time apparently that either defense could stop the other offense was after a touchdown directly. So right. Even if they score a touchdown, the odds not exactly in their favor at that point.
Yeah, they said that the extra points, because that's rare that happens, 4 missed extra points or field goals. And then they said it had a lot to do with the Super Bowl 52 logo that was on, each side of the field split in the 50. I guess it was slippery where they painted that logo. So they said that, as they practiced during the week or, through run-throughs in the final couple of days on that field, that the kickers were struggling around that, where that big Super Bowl 52 logo was on each side of the field between midfield. So yeah, that was crazy. I thought that the missed field or the missed extra point, or when the Eagles went for 2 after the fact that when the Eagles went for 2-point conversion instead of kicking the extra point, I thought that was going to be a huge turning point later on in the game, and it almost was, but it worked out for him in the end.
How about this stat? 100 receiving yards for Clement, and he had 123 yards in 16 regular season games, and then added another 39 in the Eagles' first 2 playoff games. Aren't sports hilarious sometimes?
It is funny. And it's funny? Like, I listen to a lot of daily fantasy sports guys. I follow him on Twitter, and he was very, very popular yesterday as being a sleeper for you FanDuel and DraftKings guys out there, and it panned out if you played him because he was like 7% owned in the FanDuel $1 million tournament. So yeah, funny, but there's guys that were on it knowing that it probably was going to be a shootout, and knowing that Ajayi and Blunt, neither of them really are third down pass catching backs or pass catching backs. And it worked out well for the Eagles with Clement as he came up big last night.
Oh, he absolutely did. I mean, when you saw what he was able to do, I think there was a lot of people that raised some eyebrows and said, hey, first off, who is this guy? Where did he come from? But obviously the experts over in Vegas, wherever they are for DFS, knew what was coming. So it was interesting to kind of see him shine on the big stage, similar to a James White, similar to a lot of the guys, the nameless gray faces that the Patriots have produced over the years. Question that I got a lot yesterday from my friends, from a lot of our fans on YSN, the Burrito here. If Julian Edelman is in the game for the Patriots, is he a game changer?
Not really, not in my opinion, because I mean Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman pretty much bring the same style of play to the Patriots offense. And Amendola, I don't have his stats in front of me, but he had a good game last night. So I don't see it making a huge difference. I mean, listen, if Brady threw for 240 yards last night, we maybe could say, hey, would Julian Edelman make a difference? But he threw for 500 plus yards. So what's Edelman going to do? Just eat into somebody else's yardage that was already there. So no, I don't think at all that would have made a difference.
So here
Listen, it don't matter who Tom Brady throws to. We've seen this now for how many years? It's 15 years. Don't matter who's on the field. The guy is going to get it done.
So you ready to play a little game called BS or Retire?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to put a name out there, and you're going to tell me if he's actually going to retire or if it's BS and why. So the first one, the one that everybody wants to know, and the biggest one of them all, Mr. Super Bowl, the greatest of all time, Mr. Tom Brady. Is he retiring or is it all BS?
It's tough. I tell you what, I'm going to say that he retires. And I'm banking on the fact that Belichick is going to leave New England or is going to be out in New England.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a caveat with that. So you say if Belichick leaves, Brady retires. If Belichick stays, does he stay?
Yes. Belichick stays, Brady stays. Belichick leaves, Brady retires.
Okay, so there's a definite there, but you're still riding the fence a little bit, Mr. Politician. I see you.
Well, I am, only because there's a lot. The back behind the scenes news in New England says that there's a lot of tension, hostility between Kraft and Belichick, and maybe I think that might lead to these guys. Listen, they've been hot for 15 years. As a Steeler fan, there's nothing more I'd rather see than this whole Patriots thing just to blow up. Because if there hadn't been a New England Patriots team for the last 15 years, I'd be a lot happier Steeler fan. I promise you that. So, it was fun to watch as a fan of the game. But I can see that being the big news of the offseason is the demise of probably the greatest dynasty in sports history is going to start to happen as the season is over and we head into the offseason. So I'm going to mark you down right here for Brady retires. Is that accurate? Yeah. Okay. Brady retires.
Okay. Yep. I'm going to say Brady stays. The dude has said he wants to play till he's 46 or feels like he can play. I know that there was a lot of raw emotion last night when people were asking him, but I think this is something. I think he's setting himself up for retirement, but I don't think that time is now. I don't think it's John Cena. Your time is up. My time is now. I think he is setting himself up, branding himself. You saw, everywhere you look, it's Tom Brady, TB12. He's really starting to lose focus on football and focus more on what he's going to do after. I don't know if you caught any of it. I'm actually going to look probably this week at this Tom versus Time series that he put together with Facebook Watch. So I'm interested to see how that. All I saw is him tongue kiss his kid, and that was gross. So that's enough to keep me away. But it's also one of those things that I'm interested now, just because I want to see how weird this cat is. Because the greatest of all time, man. They have some really interesting quirks. If you really dive into their personal lives. So I'm interested to see how weird of a dude Tom Brady really is. So that'll be interesting. For now, I'm saying he stays. I'm saying he if he can't do it in New England, he's going to try to do it somewhere else, and it's going to be a story there. And at this point, who
Cleveland?
wouldn't? Yeah, well, oh God bless America. I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, do you roll the dice? I mean, it sounds weird even saying it. Do you roll a dice on a guy named Tom Brady if you're Cleveland, or would you rather put all your eggs into the Kirk Cousins, basket? And we talked about it, and I still think Kirk Cousins is the guy. I think Tom Brady's a Band-Aid. I think if you're Denver, I think that's a possibility because you need somebody to maybe you draft a quarterback maybe and Baker Mayfield, and then you have Tom Brady to cover the Band-Aid for, or you be the Band-Aid for a couple years, couple seasons, pay him a little bit. He'll be willing to take probably a pay cut just to fight for championships again and say that it was all about him and he was the guy. But yeah, I think he stays. I think he keeps going. But I'm with you on the other one. That'll lead to our next retire or BS, and it is Bill Belichick. Does he retire? Does he move on, or is it all BS?
Well, I mean, I got to stick to the road I'm traveling down here. I think he retires. I think this is it for the like I said, the Patriots dynasty. So yeah, he's not sure if he retires or just is he under contract still? Do we know that?
I don't know that off the top. I can you give a little talksy and I'll see if I can look that up.
Yeah, so I mean, just with everything that surrounded the Patriots over the past 2 or 3 years, I mean, even though they were great and they last year they lost a heartbreaking Super Bowl or they came back and won. I'm sorry, last year they came back and beat Atlanta in a heartbreaking Super Bowl loss for Atlanta, and then this year they come into Philly or against Philly and Minnesota there, and it seemed like heavy favorites, 4.5, 5-point favorites, but the Eagles held on and came away with what a lot would say is a surprise Super Bowl victory. But I just think that when you put all that together, that with the drama that went on in the front office in New England, I really think that Belichick he's going to be done. I mean, what more can the guy do? I mean, as far as coaching goes, I mean, Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. Belichick is probably the greatest coach of all time. And then, each of them have each other to thank for that. But yeah, I'd say Belichick, he's going to retire or be out of New England, one or the other.
You ready for this? And this shouldn't come as a surprise to either of us, but it says here, and usually when you pop in, X contract or, Y contract, it'll pop right up. It'll give you everything you need. It says right here that Bill Belichick's contract is mostly under wraps. Shocker. I'm surprised it's not showing up on the injury report as probable or I mean, but it's saying basically, according to Chris Mortensen from ESPN, Belichick brings home more than $10 million annually. Pro Football Talk saying that Belichick is thought to make 12.5 a year, but it doesn't say how long he's under contract for. So it's interesting. I mean, we talk about local and regional sports all the time. Most coaches in the high school ranks are year-to-year contracts based on success, based on the outcome of the season, how the kids feel about you, how the parents feel about you, how the program is maturing, and things of that nature. Wouldn't it be interesting to see an NFL contract slated up like that and similar, and even more interesting if it's Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots that are set up like that? That would be, to me, they run their ship very tightly, and you can see it from pillar to post. There's not a whole lot of stuff that ends up on the outside. There's not a whole lot of dirty laundry. But if all the speculation is true from this year and what you and I have talked about, both online and offline, this could be blown up. And I think that, you're saying that Belichick is out. This is it for him. His swan song last night, and I say that he stays. I say Brady goes and Belichick stays. And what a great storyline that'll be going into the 2018-2019 season.
Yeah, that'll definitely be the headline of all NFL news until either draft day or kickoff of opening day next year. But yeah, I'll be happy though. If them two can split up one way or another, as a Steeler fan, I'm going to be very ecstatic because, I feel that each of those guys, they need each other. I mean, I bet you their relationship is super tight. I mean, they've spent 15 years together, won 5 Super Bowls together. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting to see kind of the players. I had a chance to watch a little bit yesterday. I really try to stay away from the media coverage because you just get sick. It's like eating too many cheeseburgers, right? You just don't want any cheeseburgers anymore after you have too many. Or like Kobayashi, you think he wants a hot dog after the
right.
the hot dog event? No, I mean in the Super Bowl. When I turned the TV on yesterday from 7 a.m. all the way up to the Super Bowl, there was Super Bowl coverage, and I realize it's a national holiday here in America, or should be. But man alive, you can only talk about the Super Bowl and these two teams for so long before you start repeating yourself over and over again. So it was interesting to hear kind of the take on some of these players, and I got Julian Edelman talking about Belichick on Barstool. It was Tom Brady talking about Belichick on, I believe, NBC or the Football NFL Network. So these guys, they love him. They love him because he's like that dad that, cracks down and you're successful because of him. But I think that they hate him sometimes because he's that guy too. I think it's really interesting, kind of very, very opposite end of the spectrum in Pittsburgh, where Belichick is not a player's coach. And Tom Brady said it, and it's kind of a indirect quote, but he basically said, this guy's not going to be your dad. He's not going to be your family. He's not going to be anybody. He's going to tell you how it is. And some people respond very well to that. Some people don't. And, I think you and I have both heard about Tom Brady kind of getting the treatment in New England because he's treated just the same as everybody else, but he's Tom freaking Brady.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, he is Tom Brady. He's special.
It'll be interesting because excuse me, I think Tom Brady wants that special treatment now, and I don't think Belichick's ever going to be able to be the guy that gives it to him. So kind of an interesting dialect coming out last night and this morning as you turn on your TVs and you open up your web browsers. One of the names that I never, ever thought, at least for the next 5-10 years, well, I guess 5-7 years, I would say, contemplating retirement, Rob Gronkowski. So retirement or BS?
Listen, I actually seen his whole entire interview, post Super Bowl interview. If I'm good at reading people, he's done. He's done. Gronkowski's done. If I'm good at reading faces and he, he didn't want to answer the questions and he seemed a little flustered, which that's not Rob Gronkowski. He's, a pretty dominant personality, strong personality, but the way he was dancing and, the injury history that he's had, and now, the concussion issues that he's having, along with, all the other injuries he's had over the past 4 or 5 seasons, I think Gronk might be done too. So the dynasty is if I'm right, the dynasty it's over. It's over.
So basically, what you're saying is, what's that little doohickey they have when they do the implosions of all the stadium? You're basically saying they're going to Gillette Stadium and you're just gonna
blowing it up
and boom, kabooey, right. In New England. What are you going to do? I mean, I realize that and all the reports, and I've heard this for a long time, Rob Gronkowski doesn't spend any of his NFL money. He keeps it all. He invests it. He, saves it, does whatever it takes, and he just goes off strictly endorsements. But he's a young man. I don't even think he's 30 yet. So if he's still looking to do something in life, what is there? I got one thought, which I think we're probably on the same wavelength, but I think it's too soon. I think man, we don't disagree much, but I'm going to disagree with you. I think he stays. And I think that maybe he tries to push his way out of New England if all the things we've talked about come to fruition. But I think at the end of the day, he's got too much money to be made to stop. But there's one thing coming up in 2 years that would be interesting. I guess it would be a year. No, it is 2 years. It's 2020. The XFL and Rob Gronkowski is pretty close with WWE. He's pretty close with Vince McMahon. He's best friends with Mojo Rawley of the WWE, and he's made an appearance in WrestleMania. Think if you're Vince McMahon and the people that are recruiting and they're starting now for the XFL, imagine if you can build your brand around a guy like Rob Gronkowski and let's say Johnny Manziel. I mean, they're two of the most charismatic guys. Yeah, they're polarizing. And add another layer on that cake. Brady wants to play till he's 46. What if he takes a couple shots at the XFL?
Boy, I don't know. I couldn't see Tom Brady going XFL. That probably won't happen. But for Gronkowski, yeah, there might be a lot of money on the table when it comes to playing football for the next 3, 4, 5 years, how many years he would play. But I think when you are we just said it, like Rob Gronkowski is a polarizing character. He is, in tip top shape. He's ladies' man. He has a great personality. He's a media conglomerate. The media loves following him. They sit on his every word. I feel that there's so much money to be made out there outside of football for Rob Gronkowski that, and if he has handled his money, well during his NFL career, like you said, not spending any of his salary, just, living off his endorsement deals, I don't think money's going to be an issue for the man because he's going to continue to make a ton of money no matter what avenue he goes down, whether it be, becomes a commentator, becomes a WWE superstar, becomes an XFL football player. The guy's not going to be broke. He's going to make money because people are going to want to pay to see Rob Gronkowski, no matter what it is that he gets into. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, though. I mean, I think you kind of alluded to it, Tommy, but the reporter and Rocky Brown sending me a text here saying it too, right in the middle of our cast. But I mean, you talk about that reporter kind of caught Gronk off guard, and Gronk, was shocked and said, how do you, I don't know where you heard about this, or I don't know how you know this, or something along those lines. When it's like that, and you said you're pretty good with reading people, you might be onto something. But I really believe he stays. I think he's got at least a couple years. But I think a lot of it depends on what's going on in New England. You're losing your offensive coordinator. You're losing your defensive coordinator. You're losing your special teams coach or coordinator, whatever they call themselves. Things are starting to take a shift in New England. And this last night might have been their last chance at a Super Bowl. I put it on Facebook, my personal page. I thought Patriots were going to win this one, and it was going to be it. They were going to stop at 6. Sometimes I think the NFL is a little bit more like the WWE than we think it is. But at the end of the day, cementing your legacy as the greatest franchise of all time, or at least tying the Pittsburgh Steelers, would have been, I guess, something that fans can't argue, and now they can.
We can sit here and say that, these guys have, they're losing their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, things are going south in New England. And I'm sitting here doubting it as a fan of the game of where the Patriots are going to go. But let's be honest here. These Patriots have been dominant for 15 years. Where, how many offensive coordinators have left? How many defensive coordinators have left? I mean, I could probably name off some right now off the top of my head. I mean, McDaniel went to Denver and then came back for another stint in New England. Romeo Cornell, he was a defensive coordinator in New England. He left. I mean, so don't count them out. If they stay together, if Belichick, Brady, and Gronkowski come back to New England next year, they're going to be good again. Because it doesn't matter who you throw on the field with Tom Brady. He's gonna get it done. I mean, think about how many receivers he's had over the past 15 years. Different style receivers. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a slot guy. like Welkers or Edelmans or Amendolas, or, mid-tier receivers who like Chris Hogan or Gronkowski on the middle of the field, or, speedsters going down the sidelines like Brandon Cooks, or big body receivers like Randy Moss. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's why I feel that, Brady, when you talk about the greatest of all time, as much as it pains me to say this, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, because it doesn't matter who has been on the field with him. They get it done at a high level. And if those three come back, they're going to be dominant again. If those three go, or any of those three go, I feel that we're going to see the demise. The only one that they could probably get away with losing and still being okay is, and I hate to say it because I do love the guy, is Gronkowski, because somebody will step in and Brady will make him great. So
here's a question that, and this is kind of off the topic, but I asked my wife this yesterday. I asked a bunch of people this all the time. Now, I did not like Tom Brady for the longest time. But you know what? I started to change a little bit. Started to realize, okay, this guy's great. And we don't see greatness all the time. So while I don't love the guy, I'm not ready to mouth kiss him like his son. I think I'm more apt to understanding the dynamic of, listen, there's people in this world and we just don't like because they are great. And I think that's what Tom Brady gets. So when I asked the question to my wife yesterday of, hey, why don't you like Tom Brady? Like, why? Her family's from Philly, so she rooted for the Eagles yesterday, which is fine. That's sports, right? You got to have a rooting interest. But for me, when I asked her, why don't you like Tom Brady? And she said, well, he's an expletive, right? So I was trying to figure out the best way to put that. And everybody else is, he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's this, he's that. He might be. I don't know. I'm not going to, sit there and say that, my opinion of this guy is better than yours, but he's a winner. The guy's a winner, and no matter what, he's just committed to winning. He's committed to his legacy. He's committed to being a winner. And once winners are winning, it's tough to lose, and everybody calls him a crybaby and this and that and the other thing. But you know what? It's one of those things where he's passionate about it. He's passionate about his friends, his teammates, his coaches, his legacy more than anything. And I think we all look at that. I think we're all, kind of embrace that, because if you're good at anything, yeah, you're proud of it. And I think he's proud of it. That's why I'm behind him. But why do you hate Tom Brady?
Oh, I don't hate him.
Why do you think everybody hates Tom Brady? I guess is a better question.
Well, you said it, because he's a winner. This is the United States of America, or the world in general. They love the underdog story, right? Okay. And when Tom Brady started his career, he was the underdog story. Walked on at Michigan. You know what I mean? Ran a 5.4 40 at the combine. I mean, late round draft pick by New England. He is the underdog. He's the ultimate underdog. But now, for the past 15 years, he's been dominant. He's been the leader, of the NFL, the forefront of quarterbacks in the NFL. Everybody's chasing Tom Brady. So now he's not an underdog anymore. He's a winner, and people don't like winners.
No,
people
right.
like to see people fail, unfortunately.
Because they like to make themselves feel better. I think that's
exactly. You are exactly right. That's the world we live in today. But Brady's the man. He is. I mean, I hate to say it. Tom Brady is the man, and it'll be a long time before anybody puts together a run like he has over the past 15 years. Whether he stays or goes, retires or plays.
I'm with you.
His legacy is right now, it's unmatched. And
is there one guy in particular that you can see making a run at it right now in the NFL?
Aaron Rodgers. I do. I feel like he's got it. He's got he's basically Tom Brady, but with a little bit of legs. Rodgers had the injury this year, which was detrimental to the Green Bay Packers. But if anybody can make a run at it, it's Aaron Rodgers.
See, for me, it's Carson Wentz, man.
Oh.
I think it's his league now.
You said that before too.
I love Carson. I love him. Ben Roethlisberger is my favorite quarterback of all time, my favorite NFL player. But I'll
Oh,
tell you
same
what.
here.
But I'll tell you what, man. Carson Wentz, I think he's going to take that throne. I think he's going to be my guy. He's just an absolutely devoted Christian. He's a great role model. He's one of those guys who is adamant about giving back. He's adamant about his teammates. He's adamant. It's so many things. He's a role model on all different levels. And at 33 years old, I'm still looking at guys for role models to kind of capture what I want to do with my own life on a smaller scale, I guess,
Right.
when it comes to that. So when you look at guys, I think Carson Wentz can take a run at this, man. I think second year in, he's very much got a Roethlisberger-esque style to his game. And I think with what he's already surrounded himself with, and if the Eagles can keep their team together, you might be looking at, 10 years down the road, everybody hates Carson Wentz because of what he's doing. And he's going to make it a little bit harder, I think, than Tom Brady to hate him because of what he does. If you haven't seen the Dutch Destroyer, I don't know if it's E60 or it's on ESPN regardless. Take a look at that because that's going to tell you everything you need to know about a guy like Carson Wentz. And as always, my hat's off to him because he's a great human being.
Here's a bold prediction for you.
Okay.
Here's a guy who could be the next Tom Brady or Tom Brady-esque. Are you ready?
Ready.
Jimmy G.Q. Jimmy Garoppolo. The short preview that we got of this guy in his last 4 or 5 games with San Francisco. I mean, it's like watching Brady. Honestly, you feel like you're watching a Brady who's got a little bit of leg under him. I'm telling you that kid could be special too.
I don't disagree with you, but I will disagree with you because I believe that he's going to bring the 49ers back from the dead, hands down, but I don't think that he's got it in him. I don't think that the 49ers have the pieces to do it. And here's the other thing. He was traded to the 49ers. I want to say he's a free agent. So he might now think about this. Think about this. Everything we talk about happens, right?
Right.
Brady's gone. Belichick either stays or he goes. Gronkowski stays or whatever. Brady leaves New England. The Patriots bring back Jimmy G.
Oh, that would be a Patriot move for sure.
Oh my God. It would be, everywhere. I could probably hear the moans right now from people watching the burrito, just saying, oh no, come on. We were so close to getting rid of them. We were so close. And then here comes Jimmy G to the rescue. Not only do the Patriots get their cake, but they get to eat it too. Because that's just a Patriot thing.
Belichick didn't want Garoppolo to go. You know that, right?
Really?
That was a front office move. Yeah, that's one of the things that they're saying, was, not Belichick approved. I mean, this guy was molded. This guy was molded to be the next Tom Brady. I mean, he was molded to take over, and he's now not there. And I don't think Belichick was happy about that. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of frustration between front office and coach at this time.
All right, so that changes my my outlook a little bit because now if that's accurate, Mr. Pease, Belichick's gone. He's not. I don't think he's one of those guys that takes stuff like that lightly. He's trying to be the greatest coach of all time, and I think he already is. But if that's the case, oh wow, that's stamp it. He's gone. See you later. Bye bye, Billy.
Get your dynamite thing out.
All right, so the last one, and we'll get into some fun stuff real quick. Foles, NFL champion, and now the Super Bowl MVP of Super Bowl 52. What the hell is going on in Philadelphia? What is Nick Foles going to do? Retire or BS?
Oh, BS. He ain't retire. Nick Foles retire?
Well, the only reason I say that is because I read a report before the game that said that there's a possibility he retires, win or lose, because he wants to become a pastor or some kind of devote himself to God and teach people that the value and lessons that through the Bible and things of that nature. So I respect him for that.
Absolutely.
But I certainly think that he can do that in 5 years after he gets paid a lot more money and has, continued the path of the Cleveland Browns down the path that they're on.
Well, he just had the game of his life in the Super Bowl. He's the Super Bowl MVP. There's going to be a lot of zeros that are going to keep him away from, not away, just delaying his life goal. He's a lot of zeros will make you delay your life goal.
There's some cats though, but there's some cats out there that don't care about those zeros. That don't.
Yeah.
They've got enough. They've got enough money. And you said it earlier. They've got enough money if they've done it right. Nick Foles strikes me as one of those dudes. So for some reason, he strikes me as one of those guys who does not give a crap. He can live the rest of his life on a 4x4 piece of land as long as he's got his wife and his daughter beside him. It strikes me as odd, but I think he's one of those dudes, and I think that he is. I think he walks. He's captured everything he's ever wanted to do. He was at the highest point last night, Super Bowl MVP. Nick Foles, thank you so much for the greatest Super Bowl ever. Peace out, Boy Scout, and God bless you, Tom.
Thank you. If he does, hats off to him. I mean, that's great. It means he's been smart with his money. He's probably invested it well. I mean, didn't he sign a big contract somewhere when he left Philadelphia?
I think it was
Arizona.
I thought it was St. Louis.
St. Louis, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. And then he got ousted for Jared Goff, basically. So
right. Yeah. Well, if he does and he follows his dreams, and I'm sure listen, he's got more money than anybody that we know right now either. But it's just if it is about putting a little bit more away, he's passing up a great opportunity because some franchise is going to throw him a ton of money after not only last night's performance, pretty much his whole entire playoff run, and after Wentz went down. I mean, the guy was great.
Yep.
I mean, he was great. He did an awesome job. So. If he wants paid, he'll get paid. If he don't want to get paid, he'll retire and he'll live happily ever after, I guess. But if it's me, I'm taking the zeros, So,
he wants those O's. He wants them O's. All right. So that wraps up that bit of coverage. Some fun stuff now, man. Super Bowl commercials. Everybody was watching them. What did you think? What was the best commercial you saw last night?
Well, we talked about this before we went on the air. Hands down for me is the Odell Beckham, Eli Manning Dirty Dancing commercial. I mean, that was great. I mean, that is absolutely great. You wouldn't expect that out of Eli Manning, I guess. That was a surprise for me. And then it's good to see an Odell Beckham sighting after a gruesome injury, which I'm wondering if that commercial was recorded before or after his injury. I'd like to know that. But
I would too. I'd also like to know if it was recorded before or after. Well, I guess if it was, I'm guessing before, because does Eli Manning record that with basically alluding to the Giants, given that he's on his way out probably?
Yeah. He's gone. I think he's gone for sure. But it probably was recorded before. I would imagine.
I'm with you, and I'm with you on that was the best commercial. I had such high hopes for the Bud Light Dilly Dilly commercial. I thought that, they captured lightning in a bottle with the original few commercials. And I guess maybe I'm just old, but I didn't understand the whole Bud Light night getting off the horse, going into a convenience store and then getting out and saying basically, oh yeah, if you guys make it through this war, stop over at my mom's place. I chuckled at it, but I didn't get it. I was just kind of like, all right, where are we going with this? So, to me, that was the most disappointing commercial. Not exactly the worst commercial, but the most disappointing one. But yeah, I'm with you on the the Eli Manning Dirty Dancing one. I was laughing so hard, and I had everybody in the room looking at me like, what's so funny about this? But anytime you can see a Manning dance, it's a good day.
I agree. The Alexa losing her voice, Amazon also is up there for me. I think a lot of people this morning, all these media websites and in Twitter feeds actually marked that as number one with Manning and Beckham behind them with the Dirty Dancing touchdown dance, but that was number one for me. But Alexa losing her voice, the Amazon commercial was also pretty good.
Was there any disappointing commercials for you last night other than
I'm with you on the
Bud Light?
really besides the Bud Light. I mean, a lot of I felt like a lot of commercials were, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. There's a lot of warm-hearted commercials, I guess you could say. I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of fuzzy. The one that really it was early, so I didn't want to rank it too highly. But what about the avocados from Mexico commercial? I feel like they're always the underrated dog in the fight.
I didn't see that commercial. What is it now?
Avocados in Mexico, and basically they get trapped in a bubble, and they're all excited about it. And then they say, "Oh wait, we have all the guacamole and avocados on the inside of the bubble, but on the outside of the bubble were the chips." So they started a riot, and guys taking his shirt off, and like they start beating each other up. And it was good. It was a cute commercial. They always seem to bring it. And I mean, I don't know if they're just trying to drive traffic or sell avocados from Mexico, but I mean, their marketing is stellar. So, and they can afford the millions of dollars for the 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl, which hopefully YSN will have one in Super Bowl 53. We're coming for you. We're gonna have a minute-long commercial. I don't, probably not, but it's a pipe dream someday.
Hey, it's good to have goals, right?
Hey, what are you if you don't have goals, my friend?
That's right.
They ranked the best and worst last night on RollingStone.com, and it looks like you said Alexa loses her voice. You said the heartwarming commercials, the hope detector from Hyundai I was confused going in, but I think that was the point of the commercial.
Right.
That was a pretty nice commercial. I mean, given that they were all the Hyundai Hope on Wheels Fund, all the money given that. Toyota had a decent commercial, but I think it was more of a warm-hearted, like feel-good story, and less of a make you laugh until you spit out your nachos.
Right.
Like that, those are my favorite years that everybody goes for funny. But yeah, man, I think to me it was really the Alexa and well, that was just an NFL commercial, right? I guess it was just about the NFL.
Yes.
The Eli Manning. So the NFL wins again. They won last night, and they won again.
They always win.
They always win. They're going to lose some. Wait till Vinnie Mac comes in with the XFL. He's coming. Second round is going to be much harder than the first round. So that's about it, man. We're about out of time. A couple things I want people to focus on today for YSN. We did have a couple games on Friday. We wanted to give a little bit of breathing room for everybody's sports so they can get ready for the Super Bowl. So there will be a couple jerseys hanging on our social media sites from Wellsville and Lisbon game, as well as the Columbiana and Latonia game. So keep your eye out for that. We have some signing days coming up here on YSN. We will be covering tomorrow in South Range and the following day in Columbiana. So if you're watching this and you know somebody that's going to be signing a letter of intent or to play at the next level, make sure you give us a heads up. We want to cover them, tell their story, and make sure that they're featured on ysnlive.com. Tommy, any final thoughts this morning, my friend?
No, it's like we talked about before we went on the air. It's officially baseball season now. So get your gloves and bats out, and then as we wind down the high school basketball season, this week we got a busy week down here in East Liverpool. 3 home games: Monday, Tuesday, Friday. So I'll be in my comfy blue seat down here at the field house for all 3 of those games. I missed a thriller on Saturday where we almost knocked off Harrison Central, but Harrison Central ended up pulling away in the fourth quarter, and we lost by 9 points. But but Harrison Central back Tuesday, tomorrow at the Fieldhouse. Tonight we got Brooke, and then it's senior night, homecoming night on Friday against rival Oak Glen from across the river. So it's a busy week for Potter Sports down here for me, just it's kind of like, I don't know. Today feels weird. It's like it's a new beginning. Super Bowl's over, NFL football all season always seems to go by so fast in the blink of an eye. It's crazy.
It does. And the rest of the season or the rest of the year kind of slows down. It kind of grinds to a halt. But hey, man, have a great call tonight. We're happy to put the focus on East Liverpool, and dude, all eyes on YSN. It's our time now. So when the sports aren't going on the national stage, we're ready. Also, keep in mind the Olympics start this week. We will not have any coverage of that. Otherwise, on the burrito, we'll talk about it a little bit. But YSN, obviously, local, loyal, and live. For Tommy Pease, I am DJ Yokley. That's a wrap on the Breakfast Burrito. Tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. right here on YSN, and we will see you then. Take care, everybody.
Later.